Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is 2 days before the Toronto Bonsai Society's spring show and sale, and I've decided to put another tree in the show, another tropical. So let's go have a look at the tree that I picked out. You've seen this tree on the channel recently, and I hummed and hawed about it, whether I should put it in the show or not, and in the end I decided not to. And then I tried it out on the newsstand, and I like it. I think it makes it stand out quite nicely. So this is my Ginseng Ficus, or Ficus microcarpa, in the Vietnam style. So there's the tree, and I think it looks quite nice on the stand. It makes a small tree stand out, is what it does. I was worried that, if I just had it sitting on the table, it would just, no one would notice it. It'd look like an accent plant or something. But I think the table brings your attention to it and makes it look special. So for the accent plant, I was thinking I have this 3D printed column here, which matches the columns on the pot up here. They're exactly the same. And then Kale brought me this plant, and I was thinking that'd be a nice little plant as an accent plant. And it's in a plastic pot, but I think that's okay. I don't think that's too bad. So I'll have to paint up this little stand for the accent plant, and I'll also have to clean away the moss at the base of the roots here. So I am getting aerial roots in there. If you look, you can see one going down. There are some other ones. There's another one here. Where else? I know there was another one somewhere. I don't know. Oh, up here. Up here there's one. That was it. So there is aerial roots forming, but after the show I can put the moss back on and then continue developing the root base. So if I ever show it again, maybe at the KW show in fall, it should have a lot of aerial roots growing off of it. So I'm going to uncover the root base now. Hopefully it looks okay. If it doesn't, well, maybe it won't go in the show, but let's see. One of the reasons I decided to put this tree in the show is that it's very unique, this tree, having that thick trunk and all those roots growing down and the fine branches, and it's in a 3D printed pot, which is maybe something new for the Toronto Bonsai Society's show. In the greenhouse, I have Mr. Mister going, sending out a gentle mist on the Schefflera clump style over there, and I'm getting a bit on my Sarissa too. Alright, I'm going to start removing the sphagnum moss. I'll try and remove it without breaking off these fine aerial roots that are forming. And I'll save it because I can reapply it. I do have other sphagnum moss, but I might as well reuse this. Part of making this look really miniature will be applying fine green moss around the tree to really, it'll have to be really fine moss. I'll have to find some. The sidewalk up plenty, there's no moss on it. It's been too dry this spring, so there's just nothing growing there. Alright, I've almost got all the sphagnum moss removed. So the next step is to get my soil level. You can see it's a little high here. There's an insect in here. It's a little high over here, so I can flatten that out and get ready to apply the moss. And I think, the fine moss around here will really make the tree look nice. Really finish it off. I'm trying to think what tool to use to rake out the soil. I need something very fine, like these tweezers are even pretty good. I think I'll just use the tweezers. Just kind of rake out the soil a bit. So I want the soil level just below the lip of the pot, so when I put the moss on, it'll come up kind of level with the pot. And this soil, it's probably because the roots have grown in the pot and maybe push the soil line up a bit, or I don't know. It's quite high here anyway. I've got a misting bottle, so I'll spray in here. Put it a little more in jet. And then I've got a toothbrush that I can just brush the roots off. Make them look nice if I can. There's also the base underneath here that I have to detail with moss. So that should look quite cool too with a layer of moss in the base. Now I won't have the moss go all the way underneath, but just around the edges will look pretty cool. Where the sun would hit the moss. Now I'm going to try and find some moss to try it out and see how it's looking. Alright, I'm off to search for some fine moss. I was thinking maybe my little rock landscape here would be a better accent plant. Sitting on the stand, and I'll have to paint the stand up. But yeah, I think it's a little more finished. This one's in a plastic pot and it would need pruning, and it's not very developed yet. So I think this would look quite good with the tree. I checked the moss out in the sidewalk and it was just starting to green up, but it wasn't green enough. So I collected some from some of my other trees that was growing on top of the pots. And it's not as fine as I would like, but it's the best I have. So I'll start applying that and see how it looks. Let me try the first bit of moss. So here it is here. I'll just pick out some chunks of bark attached to it. Okay, I'm going to try fitting it in here, like that. Kind of pushing it in. There's a spore sticking up, I'll just pull that out. And you gotta get the moss so it kind of goes around the roots. Make sure it has good contact with the soil. Okay. Yeah, so there's the front of the planting. It's looking really cool, really miniature looking. Clean off the pot a bit there. And the pot itself is getting some nice natural algae stains, which, you know, adds to the patina of it. It's painted to look like concrete. Yeah, so that's looking good. I still have to go around the rest of the tree, so I got a big patch here I can put in. Maybe this one right here. Well, it's not big enough, but I wonder if I should put some up in the roots here. Maybe just a little bit in here. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, so I'll just, you know, keep working my way around. I'll put this nice green stuff in here. I'll have to go collect some more moss, steal it off some of my other trees. Just looking for the finest moss I can find. There's more sphagnum moss I can take out here. So I got the back to do. I found some more nice clumps of green moss that's not too thick, so I'll start applying that to the tree. I need a small clump for down here. That fits nicely. Some more up top there. I think this thin piece here. Get it right in up top. Then I have a little piece I can maybe Let me just look at the front here again. Moss is a little grim looking here. I'm going to take a piece out there, replace it with a greener piece. Now hopefully this moss will kind of green up a bit more in the next few days. Give it some fertilizer and water and it'll be in the greenhouse. I think I need one little clump here too. Like that. Okay, that has got the ficus mossed up. So next I'm going to prune around the perimeter of the pot. So I'll get the little scissors for that. Okay, here I go. I've got my small, fine curved scissors. I get these at the surplus store. They're surplus surgical supplies. Which seems a strange thing to find in a surplus store, but they always have them. I think that's got the edges cleaned up. I'll just clean them off with the mister. Mister. Mister is a band from, I think, the 80s. Maybe early 90s, I don't know. They're called Mister. My wife and I went off this afternoon and got more skids. We got 2 big ones. So I think I might have enough now to do the tabletops using the 2x4s along here. So that's good. Reusing wood for bonsai. I found some more moss, so I can put that around the base of the planting now. All right, here I go. So I'll get my first piece of moss. And I think I'll put it around the corner here. So just kind of tear it a bit and fit it into this corner. I think it's looking good. I think it kind of gives a appearance of grass down here and then moss on top of the tree. So I just need a little more. I want some to kind of go around the back here. So I'll look for some more moss. I found some really coarse moss here. I don't know if it'll look any good. Maybe as a, a little bush, or maybe growing beside the legs or something. I'll have to use that sparingly, I think. So I'll try putting some in here. See what it looks like. If it's too coarse, then I won't use it. So let's have a look. It looks okay. But I think I'm going to maybe take it around from the corner here, the fine, put that in here, and then I'll put the coarse stuff. Put the coarse stuff around the corners. And that'll look like, areas that aren't mowed or anything, or aren't walked on. Kind of a little wilder, that section. Yeah, I think that's looking nice. It's a nice contrast, the coarse moss to the fine moss up on the planting here. So I'll pull some more off the corners here and replace it with the coarser moss. And again, I'll trim this all up so it's not overhanging the edges of the tray. Now I'll have to water this all in. Oh, there's a worm. I gotta get the worm out. There you go, wormy. Into the garden. Yeah, I think that's looking quite nice. I'll give it a watering, and then I'll trim around the edges. All right, here I go with the water. Get a good soaking. Up top too. Okay, so now I'll come in and trim the moss from the edges here so you can see the edges of the tray. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. Certainly makes it look more finished when you trim the edges. So now I'll come in here and trim the sides. Okay, I'll let that just sit for a bit and then I'll try it on the stand and see how it looks. Here's a look at the tree on the stand now with its green moss. Yeah, I think it really shows it off nicely. So I still have to do the accent plant. I've got to paint that column. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, I think. But yeah, I think the tree's looking good. I think it's ready for its first show. I really enjoyed getting my Ginseng Ficus ready for the Toronto Bonsai Show and Sale. That's on this weekend, so I hope to see you there. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.